Have your say. Should people be able to drink in public places? Scottish Borders Council are actively seeking to engage with the community in order to give people an opportunity to influence one of its policies. Given the disappointingly low turnouts at recent elections, anything that could help to increase public input must be a good thing. With a series of public meetings on the Drinking in Public Places consultation scheduled for November, I thought it would be good to raise the profile of the issues and try to encourage debate. After all, I'm sure that many will be quick to criticise any resulting bylaws, and it will be easier to counter any such criticism if it can be shown that a broad swathe of public opinion has been taken into account whilst drawing up any bylaws. I'm currently sitting in one of the areas that could be subject to future restrictions under these new bylaws, Bank Street Gardens here in Galashiels. Why shouldn't I be able to sit here and also enjoy a can of beer, bought legally from a local off-licence? The can I just opened, by the way, was just some Iron Brew. Have you ever felt intimidated by groups of people sitting here drinking? If drinking in public places is to be banned, which areas should be covered? If I couldn't enjoy my drink here, would it be all right for me to take it and sit by the River Tweed under the Gallowfoot Bridge? Or whilst walking halfway up the Eildons? Little is ever black and white, and this consultation process offers us all a chance to influence decisions by raising our concerns and offering our support. Once the engagement process ends, all responses will be analysed and will inform a report to the Council scheduled for early 2014. There will then be a statutory consultation process involving newspaper advertisements. The bylaws will then need the approval of Scottish ministers. Councillor Donald Moffat, Executive Member for Community Safety, said that the Council is very keen to hear what people think about the proposed bylaws. I set out to find out more in order to encourage you to let me know your thoughts and opinions, hence this feature. Following which, I would like you to contact TD1 Radio to extend the debate, but more on that later. I began by meeting with two key players in the consultation process, the SBC NHS Borders Director of Public Health, Dr Eric Bejal, and SBC Head of Corporate Governance, Ian Wilkie. Now, as clarification, pubs and hotels are classed as indoor public spaces in respect of smoking legislation, so the public places designated in this instance are outdoor areas. A few bullet points here. The proposed bylaws could result in fines of up to £500. They are seen as an additional tool for police in reducing antisocial behaviour. The bylaws would not apply for common ridings, summer festivals and Hogmanay. Licensed beer gardens, etc. wouldn't be affected, nor would private home gardens. The focus is on reducing antisocial behaviour through prohibition of alcohol consumption in non-accepted environments, and the Council is seeking public views on the proposals, including the areas where the bylaws could apply. Thinking about other possible exceptions, I wonder, for example, would an angler taking a shot from a hip flask whilst on a rural river bank somewhere be one of these that's seen as out with the scope of the bylaws? In order to help inform you about the proposals, I'm joined by Dr Eric Bejal of NHS Borders and Scottish Borders Council, where he is Director of Public Health, and Ian Wilkie, Scottish Borders Council Head of Corporate Governance. Thank you both for taking the time out of your day to join me here. And can I start by asking each of you to explain your role in this process? Dr Bejal?
Thanks. Well, I obviously am interested in promoting the public's health, and one way of improving people's health is to encourage responsible drinking, and as part of my work in that area I chair the Borders Alcohol and Drug Partnership, which brings together all the different agencies, health, police, the different departments in the council, social work, education, legal and democratic services, and also the third or voluntary sector, to work together to reduce harm to not only individuals and families but communities that are caused by excessive consumption of alcohol.
Thank you. And Ian?
Yes, thanks. Yes, as head of corporate governance at Scottish Borders Council, I have a number of responsibilities, but I suppose the main ones in this connection are that I'm the Chief Legal Officer for Scottish Borders Council and also the Clerk to the Licensing Board. But with regard to the bylaws, I'm here really as the Council's Chief Legal Officer who would be responsible for drafting and advertising and consulting on these bylaws.
Right, thank you. And the consultation process is ongoing at the moment, but perhaps there'll be a focus more in November when these public meetings are coming around. What do you believe are the key points that should be highlighted during the consultation process?
Well, as you say, the consultation is live at the moment, and it started on the 17th of June this year, and following our meeting with the Community Council Network last month, we agreed to extend the consultation to the 17th of January 2014. So that's a 7-month consultation, which I think is the longest consultation we've ever had. But I think what we're primarily looking for are the views of the border public, also the councillors and the community councillors, but on the primary question of do they wish to have these bylaws. If they do wish to have them, then can they say which settlements they should apply to? Because there won't be a blanket coverage of the whole of the borders because it's not Scottish Government policy to impose blanket coverage. So should there be bylaws? Where should they be? What exemptions should we have? And just generally any other comments the borders public have.
Right, so it's pretty much all's up for discussion at the moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're looking for as many comments as possible.
Thank you. And I'll play the daft laddie here, but on the face of it, this is supposed to be about reducing antisocial behaviour. Why the involvement of NHS? Because if people are going to be drinking, they're going to be drinking.
Yeah, obviously misuse of alcohol impacts on every organisation, and we see that particularly at the weekends on a Friday, Saturday evening down in the emergency department, where a lot of injuries or other problems have arisen because of misuse of alcohol.
Right, and so it's, I apologise for seeming a bit silly there, but I'm just trying to tease out a bit more, because some people, a lot of the time, they see things in print and they make a snap decision and think, what? But there's much more to a lot of things, particularly in this case.
Yes, well, I should mention perhaps the hidden impact that the public don't see, which is the use of health service resources which would normally go to other inpatient care, the diversion of doctors' and nurses' time from the care of other people with often critical and life-threatening illness. And of course, very often it's the police that are accompanying these people to the emergency department, and that's where the circle of involvement gets wider and wider.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, if people are going to be drinking, they're going to be drinking anyway. But if they're drinking in a public place, they're more likely to come into interactions with other members of the public, and things might escalate where it might not if they were in their own home.
I think we have to be careful in that we can't say that's specifically due to drinking in a public place, because people may be drunk on the streets without having drunk on the streets. Yeah. But on the other hand, we know that controlling drinking in this way helps to reduce the availability of alcohol, and that does reduce consumption and alcohol related harm. So there's not only the specific immediate personal health side, but there's also the side of health and well-being. The Council's just completed the Scottish Borders Household Survey for 2013, and about 1 in 5 of the people who responded to the survey saw people being drunk or rowdy in public places as one of the top 5 neighbourhood problems. So there is an issue about people's well-being, community sense of safety. That's a matter of concern to those of us involved in promoting mental health, as well as obviously the police and others in terms of the offences that can then arise.
Yeah, and I suppose we've just identified the complexity of these issues, and this is why there's a need for consultation and time to be taken to come and hopefully come up with an acceptable, workable solution. Now, the Scottish Borders is the only local authority in Scotland at the moment without such bylaws. What evidence is there, Ian, to show that changes are necessary?
Well, as you rightly say, we are the only local authority area which doesn't have the bylaws. Across the country, there's evidence which we presented to the Council back in May of this year, which showed the number of offences which have been created in respect of similar bylaws across the country. So our colleagues in Police Scotland are very well aware of the evidence that these bylaws have good effect when they're implemented. But as you've said already, we are consulting on these bylaws at present. It will be up to the Borders public and the Borders councillors to decide whether or not we have these bylaws. If we do have them, which areas will be covered, and if so, which exemptions, which summer festivals. So it's very much an open sheet, really. We're looking for as many comments as possible. And
I hope that as many people that you do get many people putting forward their ideas, because if they don't, we just perpetuate the situation where the general public will just moan about, they did this and we weren't asked and so on. But
well, indeed, yes, and as I say, I'm quite proud of the fact that it's a 7-month consultation period. It's an important topic. We're creating a new law here, so I think there should be a long consultation, and if we're inundated and snowed under with consultation responses, I'll be delighted.
Of course, yeah. It's the more work that comes your way, the more successful the consultation has been.
Well, indeed, because it means that the Borders public have spoken and given us their views, and whichever way they want to go, that will be picked up by the councillors. It then has to be decided upon by the Scottish Borders councillors, and so it's very much a topic for Scottish Borders area as a whole.
Yeah, well, I hope that this programme helps to improve engagement. Now, how can members of the public find out more about the details of the proposals?
Well, there's many ways. They can certainly go on to the Council's website, www.scotborders.gov.uk. They'll find the bylaws there. They can phone in to any of our council offices on our general phone number, and or if they write in and hand these responses in by post to any of the council offices. If the envelope has something like alcohol bylaws response or consultation, it will find its way to the team who will be analysing the responses. And so by hand, by post, online, by email to the council's general email. And so we're making it, hopefully, as easy as possible. If they want to hand it in to their local councillor or their local community councillor, and I'm sure everybody knows either a councillor or a community councillor, we'll get that response.
Hi, thank you. And there are some public meetings planned for November. The dates have been drafted out, but the final details are still to be published. But or has that situation changed?
No, we've got dates now. It's the 5 area forum meetings in November, and we'll be having these dates up online. They'll be widely publicised. I think actually the last one runs into early December, and that's the Berwickshire Area Forum. But we'll be taking this presentation effectively on the bylaws and seeking the views to the area forums in November, And we met last month, the 10th of September, with the Community Council Network. It was a very good meeting, some very good, positive, constructive comments, and in fact we extended the consultation period as a result of comments coming from community councillors.
Yes, because in my introduction I said that the engagement process will end on the 29th of November, but that has been extended as a result of... That was extended
following that meeting with community councillors who thought that they needed another month, and so we've neatly taken it from the 17th of June to the 17th of January, and that's 7 months if my maths are correct. And as I said earlier, I think that's probably the longest consultation process we've ever had in Scottish Borders Council.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to add to what we've been discussing here?
I think just a couple of points from myself about the issues around drinking in public. There's some evidence to suggest that is drinking displaced from other places. For example, homeless people or other people who can't afford to buy drink within licensed premises where it's actually safer to drink are people who are drinking outside in public, and also young people who aren't legally old enough to buy drink themselves. So that's an issue that we want to help tackle. And there's also the issue of modelling of behaviour. We know that younger people and indeed some older people copy other people's behaviours. So one of our concerns is if young people see a lot of older people drinking in public places, or that's going to affect how they behave in the future, and we wouldn't want irresponsible drinking in public to become normalised in the eyes of young people and others. So I think this work's very important in changing culture in a positive way.
Well, I wish you both every success in this process, and of course the rest of the population in the Scottish Borders Council area, and we'll look forward to hearing the results of this when it's published.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The proposed bylaws will also be discussed during area forum meetings in November. Cheviot on the 6th of November, Eildon on the 13th of November, Teviot and Liddesdale on the 19th of November, Berwickshire on the 25th of November, and finally Tweeddale on the 27th of November. Venues and times will be confirmed. For more information on that, go to www.scottborders.gov.uk/area forums. You can also submit your views by visiting www.scottborders.gov.uk/consultations and filling in the online survey, or you can complete a questionnaire which is available from any council contact centre or library, or by phoning 01835 825 002 or 01835 825 006. So, if you feel strongly about the proposals to restrict drinking in public places, or you simply wish to give the council more work to do, fill in a questionnaire. I would also be very happy for you to let me know your thoughts here at TD1 Radio. I hope to be able to include your input during my Thursday Lunchtime Review shows throughout November. You can submit your views by email via donald.strachan@td1radio.com, or you can text 07939 880 880, or you can fax 01896 888 010. You can also contact by Twitter by using @TD1 Radio Station, or on Facebook on the TD1 Radio Facebook page, or you could give me a call live on air between noon and 2 p.m. on 01896 888 111 on a Thursday. I realise that I've included a lot of contact information here. Should you wish to confirm any of these details, I have posted a summary on the TD1 Radio website. I look forward to hearing from you. Let's fill my November lunchtime reviews with lots of healthy debate. Do you agree that there is a problem with drinking in public places? Which communities should have restrictions applied, and when? What should the restrictions be? And what penalties should apply if bylaws are breached?
Ignore it.